Welcome to this Wednesday's edition of Market Mantra, the program in which we give you a complete update on the economic, business and stock market news of the day. I'm Arjun Chaudhary and with me is my co-anchor in Hindi, Manoj Pathak.
नमस्कार, मार्केट मंत्र के ताजा अंक में आपका स्वागत है। आधे घंटे के इस कार्यक्रम में हमेशा की तरह हम देश और दुनिया की चुनी हुई कारोबारी, आर्थिक और शेयर बाजार से जुड़ी ताजा खबरों को लेकर हाजिर हैं। हमारे साथ खबरों पर चर्चा के लिए फोन लाइन पर आमंत्रित हैं आर्थिक मामलों के जाने माने विश्लेषक जयंतो दास। जयंतो, कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत है।
शुक्रिया।
आइए कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करते हैं अंग्रेजी में हेडलाइन से, जिसे लेकर मौजूद हैं अर्जुन चौधरी।
Domestic equity benchmarks gain more than 1% amid mixed global cues. Sensex closes at 35,467. Nifty settles at 10,430. Crude prices appreciate amid fall in U.S. inventories. And gold climbs amid increasing number of coronavirus cases worldwide.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों से मिले जुले संकेतों के बीच घरेलू शेयर बाजार में लिवाली तेज। प्रमुख सूचकांक 1% से अधिक बढ़त के साथ हुए बंद। प्रमुख सूचकांक सेंसेक्स 35,467 पर बंद हुआ, निफ्टी 10,430 पर पहुंचा। अमेरिका में उत्पादन घटने के बीच अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों में कच्चे तेल के दामों में आई तेजी और दुनिया भर में कोरोना वायरस से पीड़ित मरीजों की संख्या बढ़ने के बीच सुरक्षित निवेश सोने के मूल्यों में हुई वृद्धि। घरेलू शेयर बाजार में आज लिवाली तेज रही और बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का सेंसेक्स कारोबार के अंत में 499 अंक यानी 1.43% की बढ़त लेकर 35,414 पर बंद हुआ। उधर नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज का निफ्टी 128 अंक यानी 1.24% वृद्धि के साथ 10,430 दर्ज हुआ। छोटी और मझोली कंपनियों के शेयरों की लिवाली भी की गई, लेकिन सेंसेक्स और निफ्टी पैक की तुलना में थोड़ा कम रुझान यहां देखने को मिला। बीएसई मिड कैप इंडेक्स 0.18% लाभ के साथ बंद हुआ। स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स में 0.39% की वृद्धि हुई।
Equity benchmark Sensex today rallied 499 points, tracking gains in index heavyweights HDFC Twins, Reliance Industries and ITC amid a mixed trend in the global markets. After hitting a high of 35,467, the 30-share BSE index settled 499 points, 1.43% higher at 35,414. The NSE Nifty surged 128 points, 1.24% to 10,430. Broader indices at BSE logged marginal gains. Mid-cap appreciated 0.18%, while small cap added 0.39%. Axis Bank was the top gainer in the Sensex pack, soaring over 6%, followed by Bajaj Financial Services, HDFC, Bajaj Finance, ITC IndusInd Bank, SBI, ICICI Bank and Reliance Industries. On the other hand, NTPC, Nestle India, Larsen & Toubro, Mahindra & Mahindra and ONGC were among the laggards. According to traders, besides stock-specific action, local indices followed gains in global benchmarks, which were largely positive on encouraging macroeconomic numbers indicating recovery in world economies. Jayento, are you still with us online?
Yeah, good.
Jayento, what were the reasons for the market going up? Is it because of the macroeconomic data showing recovery in the economy, or is there just buying interest because a lot of the stocks available in the market are undervalued?
Well, typically, Arjun, I think it's a mixed bag, basically for two reasons. One is the markets moved above and closed at above 35,000 level, which I guess psychology to some extent would create some sort of a positive atmosphere, given that, it's the end of the first quarter and we are initially starting unlock 2, which is expected to bring in a much more economic activity. Secondly, if you look at the domestic macro sector, specifically sectors like manufacturing and all, compared to April and May, although there has been a contraction in June also, but the contraction has been far lesser compared to April and May when the Indian economy was under a complete lockdown. So these are, if not, a really huge jump in terms of positive figures, but at least some, good news in terms of some lights to be seen at the far end of the horizon in the present scenario.
Yes.
Also, if you look at the GST figure collection, from 32,000 crores in April to 62,000 crores approximately in May, and now we have clocked over 90,000 crores for June. So that's once again a steady growth, although the 90,000 crores is still around 10%, 9 to 10% less if you compare it the last year's figure in the same month. But I believe given the pandemic, it's a good recovery, at least in terms of GST numbers, if not an excellent one. So I think these are broad internal factors. And we should also not forget the government's constant pushing of packages and announcements here and there, including the liquidity provision of by creating an SPV for the NBFCs so that they don't face a cash transfer, liquidity crunch. We also seen a direct benefit announcement by the Honorable Prime Minister yesterday, whereby the scheme of providing food grains, specifically rice and wheat grains as well as chana and pulses to be extended till November. So I think these are some of the benefits and also the huge satisfaction of over than adequate food stock in the country. If I take a cue from the Prime Minister's speech yesterday, where he spoke of the farmers' role in making enabling this to happen in terms of food grain production. We have record food grain production, and I think that to a great extent has comforted our fight, our extremely grueling and tough fight in the pandemic season. But having said that, Arjun, I think we must also give due credence to the global economic activity which is happening at this point of time.
Well, Jayanti, we're now joined by Avinash Gorakshankar, who's also a market analyst. Avinash, a warm welcome to you on Market Mantra. As our guest expert was talking about the strong macroeconomic numbers, the Purchasing Managers Index, which has now climbed to 47.2 for the month of June, and GST collection is up for the month of June at 90,917 crore rupees. My question earlier was, is it just the macroeconomic numbers which has lifted sentiment, or is it also because of the amount of fund flow into our markets from overseas, especially from hedge funds, looking at stocks in the market which is undervalued, especially with strong corporate performance like banking?
No, I think my guess is today's rally has largely been sparked off on news flows that FI money is going to actually get accelerated going ahead in a very big way. In fact, the commentary from typically from US Fed is that liquidity is going to be quite significant in the months ahead, and possibly there could be another stimulus package which the US could announce to the extent of almost $1 trillion. So I think the markets are happy that a lot of liquidity will continue to get pumped in these emerging markets. Plus, hedge funds have been very active. Nevertheless, if you see the last 4 to 5 days, FIS flows actually on the cash market side have actually reduced significantly, and I think it's more of short covering which has helped the market to actually bounce back. Now, clearly with the earnings season almost complete, I think the markets would definitely look at what is happening in the global markets, clearly because, quarter one earnings are going to start from the first or second week of July. And obviously at that point of time, one would definitely know what has been the impact in the first quarter. Fundamentals say that markets would still take a long time to recover, but liquidity is going to be very comfortable, at least till August, September, ahead of the US election. So net, I think the markets may not correct sharply. I mean, liquidity is going to be the clear barometer for, in the near term, for the market trend going ahead.
अविनाश जी, यदि हम FIIs की आपने अभी चर्चा की है, यदि हम FIIs के रुझान को देखें तो पिछले 3 महीनों में, यानी जून को यदि हम छोड़ दें तो उससे पहले के 3 महीने अप्रैल, मई और मार्च में लगातार बिकवाल बने रहे थे FIIs, जबकि जून महीने में अच्छा खासा निवेश उन्होंने किया है। इस आकर्षण के पीछे भारतीय बाजार में क्या मुख्य कारण है, और क्या ये सीमित अवधि के लिए है या FIIs का रुझान बना रहेगा भारतीय बाजार में?
तो पहली बात तो FIIs हमारे देश में इतना ज्यादा पैसा इसलिए डाल रहे हैं क्योंकि वैल्यूएशंस ऊपरी लेवल से काफी घट चुके हैं, और हमारे यहाँ पे दूसरे ग्लोबल देशों के मुकाबले में हमने कोरोना का भी जो क्राइसिस है वो बहुत अच्छी तरह से मैनेज किया है। प्लस जो अर्निंग्स रिकवरी है वो हमको लग रहा है FY22 में काफी स्ट्रांग होगी। हालांकि FY21 एक एबनॉर्मल ईयर है, हालांकि सारे सेक्टर में अभी भी कोई रिकवरी देखने को नहीं मिली है, लेकिन अनुमान है कि जो रिकवरी भी इंडिया में आएगी कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर को लेके वो काफी चुस्ती और जल्दी होगी। तो यही एक कारण है कि FIIs ने काफी पैसा निचले लेवल पे लगाया है। हालांकि अभी ये कहना मुश्किल है कि रिकवरी कब होगी, लेकिन अभी जिस प्रकार का मैक्रो नंबर अभी जो दिख रहा है उसमें शायद स्टॉक्स में कोई बड़ा रुझान शायद हमको इमीडिएटली ना देखने को मिले, लेकिन होपफुली तीसरे तिमाही दैट इज FY21 के बाद होपफुली आपको नंबर्स में ये अनुमान और ये जो इम्प्रूवमेंट है कॉर्पोरेट के नंबर्स में देखने को मिलेगा। तो यही एक कारण है कि लिक्विडिटी बहुत जोरों से आ रही है। और दूसरी बात, इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स में जो पैसा आ रहा है वो बेसिकली स्टिमुलस का पैसा है। जापान, जर्मनी, फ्रांस एज वेल एज यूएस ने बहुत बड़े स्टिमुलस पैकेज अनाउंस किए हैं। एक्सेस लिक्विडिटी इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स में आई है और हमारे मार्केट्स में सभी लोग जानते हैं कि हमारा मार्केट्स काफी शैलो है, FI की बाइंग से बहुत प्रभावित होते हैं। तो इसलिए हमको एक छोटे समय में मार्केट्स ने करीबन बहुत बड़ा उछाल दिखा है। करीबन मार्च एंड के बाद और अभी तक करीबन 40-45% मार्केट्स बढ़े हैं। तो ये सिनारियो चलता रहेगा जब तक लिक्विडिटी मार्केट्स में आती रहेगी।
अविनाश जी, हम यदि कुछ सेक्टर की बात करें तो किन सेक्टर में आप देख रहे हैं कि रिकवरी वहां बेहतर दिखेगी? आपके अनुमान किस क्षेत्र को लेकर बन रहे हैं?
नहीं, मुझे लग रहा है कि ज्यादातर जो रूरल रिलेटेड सेक्टर्स है, जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा है कि जो भी कंपनी रूरल मार्केट्स में स्ट्रांग है इसके लिए डेफिनेटली मौका अच्छा है, क्योंकि रूरल मार्केट्स में हमने देखा है कि कोरोना का इम्पैक्ट इतना नहीं है, परचेसिंग पावर भी काफी अच्छी है। स्पेशली जो कंपनीज एग्रो केमिकल्स, बेसिकली एग्रीकल्चर इम्प्लीमेंट जैसे ट्रैक्टर बनाती है, ऑटोमोबाइल में जो बेसिकली 2 व्हीलर जो प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं जैसे कि हीरो मोटरकॉर्प है, मारुति है जो काफी हद तक अपने गाड़ियां रूरल मार्केट्स में बेचती है। तो हमको लग रहा है कि ये सारे ऐसे सेगमेंट्स है जहां पे शुरुआती दौर पे रिकवरी के साइंस पहले जल्दी देखने को मिलेंगे। और उसके बाद ऑब्वियसली जो इसेंशियल चीजें जो हमको लगती है कंजम्पशन बास्केट में हम देखें तो वहां पे मेरे ख्याल से रिकवरी का पहला चिन्ह आएगा। और उसके बाद आपको जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, कैपिटल गुड्स, ये सारे जो हैवी सेक्टर्स है वहां पे रिकवरी देखने को मिलेगी। तो मोटा मोटी लग रहा है कि तीसरी तिमाही के बाद ही ये आपको थोड़ा सा नंबर्स में देखने को मिलेगा।
Avinash, in the cash market, Nifty losers have been auto stocks, especially because of sales data which has come out for the month of June sales. So companies like Maruti, Suzuki and Hero Motorcorp, not surprisingly, have not performed very well. Are you optimistic that the sale numbers will improve and the stock valuation will go up?
See, I think from a very near perspective, numbers are not going to improve. I think clearly whatever improvement can come is only beyond, after the first half of FY21. But if you compare June over the month of May, I think there has definitely been a significant improvement. And as the, lockdown gets, completely unlocked, we are seeing that gradually normalcy levels is coming, especially in the tractor market. We saw Escorts posting a very strong number for the month of, June. So I think clearly rural related, automobile sales, especially two-wheelers, tractors are going to be first impacted positively. Passenger cars may take some time, but clearly from a near-term perspective, companies which are in the agri space, especially Mahindra, Hero Motorcorp, or for that reason Escort, these are the first players which could possibly do well. Maruti could possibly take some time, and overall the auto basket should do well only from the next financial year. FY21, frankly, according to me, would be a washout.
We have seen that the finance and the BankX went up between 2 and 3%. We have seen them featured in the top Nifty gainers. Also a lot of build-up in the futures market. Why is it that we are seeing that banking stocks and financial services stocks, they are going up significantly now?
So I think, frankly, RBI has now today approved a good improvement, a good liquidity kind of improvement scheme, especially for housing finance companies and for non-banking finances through some special purpose vehicle. This support is definitely going to help, NBFCs and housing finance companies in this space. And especially if you look at the larger NBFCs like Bajaj Finance or typically, companies which operate in the infrastructure finance basket, I would believe that yes, there is definitely no doubt that challenges would continue because moratoriums across the board have increased significantly. But as long as the government gives them support, you could possibly find that select NBFCs and, financial intermediaries could definitely do well. I think the market cannot survive, if you have the NBFC or the financial sector stocks, especially the banking and the housing finance companies underperforming. So I think if the economy has to improve and to take off, then this sector, has to perform. I mean, maybe for the next 6 to 12 months, there could be challenges. But hopefully FY22, I think normalcy should come back. And I think that is probably the reason the markets is quite upbeat and very positive on these, kind of stocks.
Thank you so much, Avinash ji, for giving us your views and opinions about the performance in the stock market today. Thank you so much. That was Avinash Gorakhshankar, market analyst on our program Market Mantra.
आइए अब चलें वैश्विक बाजारों की ओर। सबसे पहले नजर डालते हैं एशियाई शेयर बाजार पर, जहां आज मिला जुला रुख देखने को मिला है। सुरक्षित निवेश समझे जाने वाले सोना और जापान की मुद्रा येन में मजबूती आज दिखी है। वहीं चीन से फैक्ट्री उत्पादन के उम्मीद से बेहतर आंकड़े आए, जिसका अनुकूल असर एशियाई बाजार में निवेशकों के बीच देखा गया। हालांकि अमेरिका में कोरोना के मामले बढ़ने की आशंका से भी निवेशकों के हित थोड़े से प्रभावित होते दिखे। निवेशकों की सक्रिय भागीदारी से सिंगापुर का स्ट्रेट्स टाइम्स इंडेक्स आज 0.8% लाभ में रहा। चीन का शंघाई कंपोजिट इंडेक्स 1.4% उछाल के साथ बंद हुआ। उधर बिकवाली के दबाव में जापान का निक्केई 225 सूचकांक 0.8% घाटे में रहा। दक्षिण कोरिया का कोस्पी 0.1% नीचे आ गया। हांगकांग में शेयर बाजार बंद रहे। यूरोपीय बाजारों की ओर चलें तो समाचार तैयार किए जाने तक बिकवाली चल रही थी। अंतर्दिवसीय कारोबार में लंदन का FTSE 100 1% नीचे चल रहा था। फ्रांस का CAC 40 1.4% और जर्मनी का DAX 1.5% नीचे कारोबार कर रहे थे।
Jayanto, I hope you're still with us online.
Yeah.
Jayanto, the factory activity in China has improved significantly, just like we're seeing for India when you look at the PMI data. Then why is it that the US dollar, which is a reflection of the US economy and its productivity hit by coronavirus infections worldwide, how is it that the currency is still strong, especially against other currencies like the rupee?
Well, typically, US, let's not forget, has pumped in around $1.3 trillion as direct grants, benefit grants for the industry as well as for the people out over there, number one. Number two, let's also not forget that despite a growing manufacturing numbers, which you look at it for China, China probably is now under a second round of pandemic attack, specifically in the suburbs of Beijing, where I understand over, at least 2 to 3 million people as we speak now are being quarantined completely. And obviously there is not much clarity of news coming out from there, which is typically of how China behaves when it controls the media in terms of offering news of what's happening locally. But taking a cue from there, Arjun, what I believe is at this point of time, US is also heading for elections, which is in the month of November. And I know specifically there is a strong political will to ensure that the stock markets also do well. And let me quote over here a famous CNN story, headline story which CNN carried yesterday, where they said the stock market performed their best in the last 20 years, the quarterly performance of the stock market, despite the economy being in shambles. So somewhere down the line, there is obviously a disconnect about what is happening in the stock market and what is the status of the economy there. Although we should not deny that there are some green shoots and there are some economic activity has been coming up in the stock market, in the economic activity in the US. Also, let's not forget that the second round of pandemic attack which is happening in US at this point of time, as of yesterday, we have around 40,000 new cases being added per day, which is a huge number. Which means, the states which are just started to open up, they have gone in for a pause. They have not gone in for a lockdown. And experts strongly believe that if these numbers cross 50,000 per day, new numbers of COVID, in the next, say, maybe 1 week or so, then there's a high chance that some of the states may again go in for a lockdown, which would give a very brutal blow to the economic situation. But I feel there is a political, game also over here, specifically with the states which are run by Democratic governors of how they behave and states which are run by Republic governors, how they behave in terms of the reaction to the pandemic. But having said that, as I said, there are green shoots in the US economy. There is some sort of a recovery happening, but definitely not something which will, bring a confidence in us and tell us, okay, hey, this is the stage from where we go. Because as I said, most of the US media also is quite worried of what is happening in the Wall Street in terms of extremely good performance numbers despite the economy in a bad shape.
Well, the Japanese yen, like gold, are seen as safe havens when it comes to the Asian market. You see a lot of diversion into buying the Japanese yen as an investment. Why is that the case?
Well, typically, I believe the Japanese, the overall view of how the Japanese has handled the pandemic, in the initial stages has been, much more confidence boosting measures, specifically on the Asian side. specifically for investors in the Asian side. And I think that could be one of the reasons why there would be a strong will for people to hold on to the yen as a safe haven, just like gold, specifically this turbulent times. But having said so, the past 1 week also has seen new pandemic numbers coming both in Japan and South Korea, which were till last month were called a good success story in how they managed their COVID-19 scare. But then, as I said, it's a very choppy, typically next quarter, which we have started from July onwards, if I may say. And globally, we have to keep a close watch in how the markets are connected to the economic activity, and specifically, important assets like the Japanese yen, gold, and oil react to this choppiness.
Well, let's have a look at how the U.S. market performed. The Dow Jones gained 0.9%, S&P 500 climbed 1.5%, and the Nasdaq Composite surged 1.9%. Jayanti spoke about the economy of the U.S. Right now. They are looking to improve the stock market performance. That's the focus of the U.S. president, along with improving macroeconomic figures. How volatile is trade going to be in the U.S. market between now and November, when the elections for the U.S. presidency takes place?
Well, that's a very, very good question which you have asked, and I think I was actually urging to answer this particular area. And let's look at it from two viewpoints. One is the political viewpoint, where, as I said, I'll just repeat, we have the presidential elections in November, and the Republicans at this point of time would like to see the stock market perform well. The pandemic at least visibly controlled efficiently, if not in terms of numbers, and a general feel among the American crowd that we are fast limping back to normalcy. That's what the Republicans would like to see. The Democrats, on the other hand, at this point of time, specifically Joe Biden, their presidential candidate, is running a good show at this point of time, despite being, quite behind Trump in what the, initial polls were saying. Now, Trump's present poll levels of, Trump's present rating in terms of opinion poll is one of the worst which the American, presidential election has ever seen in the last 5 decades. And that it's impossible to win from here. But the fact comes in that if he's able to bring in a good stock market boom in the next 3 to 4 months, there is a strong chance that Trump might be able to win, because there are basically 3 states which will be mattering in this overall election that are going to be an important swing state, which I'm not mentioning at this point of time, but yes, there are 3 states which will be helping win. The second part is, the question is, if the Democrats win, there is a very strong sense that some of the tax cuts which Trump offered to the rich as well as the mighty companies, they might be withdrawn and bringing in some sort of a triggered loss of income for the overall giant companies. So that sort of a view is also coming in terms of, if the Democrats come in, they might be withdrawing some of those tax cuts which Trump offered in 2017. So this is a debate, and this is a close watch which both the American investors, the American people, as well as the American companies are watching and seeing how it's standing up. And as I said, this is an election year, and it's quite exciting as well as interesting to see from here onwards. You have July, August, September, October, 4 months for both Trump and Biden to take a call in how the stock market. Obviously, Biden doesn't have a role in the stock market, neither does Trump has, but Trump has the edge of having a role in the policy making. So let's see how it stands up from here.
जयंत, हम आपका ध्यान खास तौर से ले चलना चाहेंगे एशियाई शेयर बाजारों की ओर। वहां का परिदृश्य कैसा उभर रहा? एक और हम दुनिया भर के शेयर बाजारों में देख रहे हैं कि वित्तीय प्रोत्साहन जो सरकार की ओर से दिए जा रहे हैं हर जगह, लगभग हर देश में। वैसे में एशियाई शेयर बाजार किस दिशा में बढ़ते नजर आ रहे हैं?
देखिए, एशिया शेयर बाजार फिलहाल जो चाइना में जो फिगर्स आ रहा है कोविड पैंडेमिक का, और साथ में कुछ पॉजिटिव फिगर्स आ रहा है कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में कुछ अपराइजिंग हुआ है, इस दौरान थोड़ा एशियन शेयर बाजार में इसका प्रभाव पॉजिटिव रूप में थोड़ा बहुत रहेंगे। लेकिन विश्व भर में जो रूप है, खासकर के यूरोपियन मार्केट और अमेरिकन मार्केट का जो प्रभाव है, वो एशियन मार्केट अलग से इस प्रभाव से मुक्ति नहीं दे पाएगा। वजह इसलिए क्योंकि कहीं न कहीं हम सबको पता है जुड़े हुए हैं सारे ओवरऑल सेक्टर। और इस वक्त जैसे मैंने थोड़ी देर पहले अर्जुन का साथ बात करते टाइम बताया कि जापान और साउथ कोरिया खास करके उनका पैंडेमिक का जो सेकंड दौर आ रहा है, और उस सेकंड दौर का दौरान उनको थोड़ा बहुत इस वक्त जो कोविड का नंबर्स का फिर से वृद्धि आया हुआ है, इसके ऊपर शायद एक इम्पैक्ट होंगे। और साथ में हमें भूलना नहीं चाहिए, सिंगापुर के अलावा एक आना था मेजर मार्केट हांगकांग, जो इस वक्त चाइना का प्रभाव और चाइना का पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस की वजह से भी हांगकांग एज अ इम्पोर्टेंट फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल का जो सुविधा मिल रहा था, वो यूएस ने सारे ऑलमोस्ट विड्रॉ कर ली। और तो ऐसे स्थिति में भी हांगकांग में भी थोड़ा बहुत चॉपीनेस हम देख सकते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स, इन टर्म्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट, इन टर्म्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट खासकर।
आइए पहले नजर डालते हैं रुपए की स्थिति पर, उसके बाद चर्चा को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। अंतर बैंकिंग विदेशी मुद्रा बाजार में $1 की तुलना में रुपया आज 9 पैसे कमजोर हुआ, 75 रुपए 60 पैसे के स्तर पर पहुंच गया। मुद्रा बाजार कारोबारियों के अनुसार घरेलू शेयर बाजार में मजबूती का असर रुपए में दिखा है।
Well, let's have a look at the oil market now. Oil prices today rose after an industry report showed crude inventories in the US fell much more than expected, suggesting demand is improving even as the coronavirus outbreak spreads around the world. In intraday trade, Brent crude prices were trading at $41.90 per barrel, while WTI crude prices were at $39.90 per barrel. Jayanto, we're looking at global crude oil prices just inching up incrementally, and even the retail price of fuel has gone up significantly for nations to raise revenue through taxation, but the volume of production has not gone up. What is the strategy of OPEC and non-OPEC producers to ensure that prices are maintained and their economies run substantially well with the income they earn by selling oil?
Well, Arjun, let me first highlight a remarkable performance of the oil industry, which amidst all the otherwise doom and gloom stories which you have heard in oil. Since the 1990s, this has one of the most remarkable performance in terms of prices for the oil industry in the last quarter. We get seen a jump of almost 80% if you take the last 6 months in prices of oil. The last ever performance, the previous performance of this magnitude was done post-Gulf War days when the oil prices jumped by almost 128% plus. So it's an abnormally high jump, which even the analysts have not taken by surprise in what has happened to the market. But having said that, it is still lower than the consumption which was there in the previous year, if you do a month-to-month comparison. And I believe if I take a cue from here, obviously it will also depend on the choppiness of the economic activity. Now, despite the price bullishness happening and the overall price production, the production cut, which OPEC as well as the non-OPEC countries have, last month specifically agreed to, I think the choppiness of the oil prices would remain in the next 6 months.
तेल का यानी जो कह लें कि दाम है वो किस स्तर तक आने वाले 2-3 महीनों में बढ़ता हुआ या नीचे आता हुआ अंदाजा लगा पा रहे हैं आप?
देखिए, इस वक्त मैं समझता हूँ मनोज कि अगर 40 से लेकर $45 प्रति बैरल का तरफ अगर क्रूड ऑयल का कीमतें अगर सीमित रहेंगे और आने वाले 4-5 महीने में तो काफी अच्छा प्रदर्शन रहेगा तेल का प्राइस का कीमतों पर। और जैसे मैंने बताया कि हमें भूलना नहीं चाहिए, परसों वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने एक बहुत बड़ा डायरेक्टिव और चेतावनी इशू किए है, जहां पर उन्होंने कहा कि जुलाई और अगस्त का महीने में और भी ज्यादा कोविड का नंबर पूरा दुनिया में बढ़ने वाला है और भी मोर सीवियरली एक स्ट्रेन आने वाला है, जिसमें शायद अटैक और ज्यादा हो सकता है नेशंस पे, और खास करके जो एग्जिस्टिंग नेशंस है, इंडिया, ब्राजील, रशिया, इस तरह के नेशंस जो कोविड फाइट करे उनको ऊपर। तो ऐसा स्थिति में इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी फिर से एक स्लम्प में जाने का बहुत ज्यादा खतरा है। और चाहे आप प्रोडक्शन कट फिलहाल करें भी, तब भी अगर ऑयल प्राइसेस के ऊपर मैं मानता हूँ नीचे के तरफ से एक दबाव बने रहेगा। तो ऐसे मैंने कहा कि $40 से $45 का आसपास अगर ऑयल प्राइसेस सीमित रहते हैं अनदर 3-4 मंथ्स में, इट्स अ गुड लेवल टू एटलीस्ट सपोर्ट।
आइए चलें सर्राफा बाजार। दिल्ली सर्राफा बाजार में आज सोने और चांदी के मूल्यों में तेजी आई है। सोने का मूल्य 647 रुपए बढ़कर 49,908 रुपए प्रति 10 ग्राम पर पहुंच गया। चांदी 1,611 रुपए बढ़कर 51,870 रुपए प्रति किलो के स्तर पर पहुंच गई। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों में भी सोना मजबूत हुआ है, इसके दाम $1,788 प्रति आउंस पर पहुंच गए। वहीं चांदी $18.34 प्रति आउंस पर पहुंच गई। कारोबारियों के अनुसार कोरोना के बढ़ते मामलों के बीच सोने को सुरक्षित निवेश समझकर निवेशकर्ताओं की दिलचस्पी बनी हुई है। बस यहीं पर श्रोताओं की ओर से जयंत, हम आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहेंगे।
शुक्रिया।
And before we close, a reminder of the headlines. Domestic equity benchmarks gain more than 1% amid mixed global cues. Sensex closes at 35,467. Nifty settles at 10,430. Crude prices appreciate amid fall in U.S. inventories. And price of gold climbs amid increasing number of coronavirus cases worldwide. And that's it in this edition of Market Mantra for now. Goodbye.